Hey guys, what's going on? Spartan Warrior 5 again here today, bringing you guys another Battlefield 3 commentary. And in today's video, we are using the Assault class, using the L85. But wait a second. I don't think this is the right gameplay here. I think this is what we were supposed to be watching. This is some post-patch gameplay that I got the other day, using the F2000 on Wake Island on this Rush server, and some of you guys might be wondering, why I decided to switch off from the L85 gameplay to this. What's so special? Is it just because of the patch? You want to talk about that? What are your opinions on it? Blah, 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 blah. A lot of people have been posting those types of videos, just like, oh, I think the patch is great because it's more balanced and the weapons are more balanced and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not going to be doing that. I might be doing some sort of bullshitty commentary like that later, but for now, I want to talk about an issue that has been brought up on a lot of blogs and other forums for Battlefield, and that's this issue about the Assault class being changed. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, what the hell was changed about it? Besides the fact that the weapons got changed, I don't see any changes with it. Well, in first-person view, back before the patch, the skin color of your player was white, if you're the Assault class, but on the third-person view, he was an African American. Now, with the patch, they made it so that in the third-person view, your character is still African American, but now in the first-person view, he's still African American. He's not Caucasian. And this has brought up a lot of controversy and just a lot of, anger in a lot of the community. Everyone's just like, oh, why are we having to play as a black guy now? It was fine the other way. And that brings up a really serious question for a lot of first-person shooter games just in general. Where is race coming into consideration, Because, in a lot of Call of Duty games, you'll see some African-American people, but you never, in the first-person view, see them as being an African-American, And in Battlefield, there were some games where you played as an African-American male, but in the first-person view, you were Caucasian. And that's brought up a whole lot of racial controversy and just issues within the gaming community. Just like, okay, let's say I'm African-American, and I want to play as an African-American player. I want my character to be an African-American male. Now, the game puts in, your third-person character being African-American. Okay, cool. That's great. But then they come out and put this, oh, you know what, we're going to make him third-person African-American, but, sorry, but first-person view, we're going to make him Caucasian. Now, if I were African-American, as in a lot of people, I'd be kind of ticked off, It's just like, hey, I want my guy to be, I want to represent who I am. I want to be able to represent. That's pretty much the argument that a lot of people have been making nowadays. It's just that, I'm African-American, why don't I have the right to play as an African-American? And now, a lot of people who are Caucasian, after the release of this patch, have been going, oh, you know what? It used to be that my character was Caucasian, and now, all of a sudden, I have to play as, an African-American person. What is this? Can't there be a setting for me to switch skin color or something like that? And this is a big racial issue that has been brought up. It's just because DICE has decided, Vietnam, that's the clearest example that I can come up with right now. In Battlefield Bad Company 2, the expansion pack, the Vietnam, that one, the medic class for the U.S. was African-American, but in the first-person view, he was Caucasian. And it was just like this game, just like in the third-person view, he's African-American, but in the first-person view, he was Caucasian. Now, again, I didn't really see a lot of controversy or, a lot of blogs about this, maybe because I just didn't do it anyway. I didn't really get that much into Vietnam. Even though it's one of my favorite shooters, I never really got into blogs or vlogs or anything like this about Vietnam. I wasn't paying too much tabs on it. But Battlefield 3, I've been reading some forums and some blog postings, and a lot of people were pissed about this, just because, people are saying, I want to play as Caucasian. I don't want to play as an African-American. And this brings up the question, should first-person shooter games have the ability for you to choose which ethnicity you want to be, whether it's Asian, whether it's African American, whether it's Caucasian, whatever. Whatever ethnicity you are, should you be able to have the right to make your character your ethnicity? And now, that's another big old question here, and something that I'm trying to push so hard in the first-person shooter community, is that why can't we, customize our characters to be, who we want to be? How come we can't select which type of gloves, or what jacket, what shirt, what pants, what shoes, anything, why can't we customize what our characters look like? Because in all of these different games, everyone looks the exact same way. I mean, Battlefield, Call of Duty, I can't really think of any other examples besides those two, but you get my point. It's just a lot of first-person shooters, everyone looks the same. There's no variety whatsoever. And it's just that's not how the world works. There's a lot of variety with us. There's just a lot of change that goes on. And so why can't we reflect that through our games, And especially ethnicity. I mean, DICE has really been pushing this whole, well, not really pushing, but they've been really sort of edgy with this whole racial thing, because before this patch, the African American character was made Caucasian, but now what am I trying to say here? The Caucasian first-person view of the American soldier has been changed to African American, and that's been stirring up some, anger within some of the gamers. So now, that's just a big question. Should we be able to have options to change how our characters look, being, our ethnicity? Should we have options to be Caucasian, to be African American, to be Asian, to be Indian, to be whatever you are, But a problem here runs in, will factions be based upon ethnicity? Will we have a faction that's Caucasian? Will we have one that's African American? So on and so forth. And then that's just a whole nother ballpark of just a whole racial issue of just like, are we going to have an inferior and, superior race? And that's, that might be taking it a little bit too extreme, but it's just like, it's something to take in consideration, Because you really can't have an Asian-Russian player, this game, it's basically the Americans versus the Russians. You really cannot have an African-American Russian or an Asian Russian. It just doesn't work. The Russian people are usually Caucasian. That's just how it works. So, what do you guys think about this whole issue? Should first-person shooter games allow players to change their ethnicity? Or just basically their skin color, Because it's been a lot of heated debate recently that I've noticed that I just want to talk about in the video today. So, I thank you guys for watching. Peace out. And have a great day.